he's made it this way, and I love that we have that. MkLeo is saying, you cannot see me. We'll see.
So I don't know if that was a you can't see me John Cena pose, or if that was Joseph Joestar's pose from part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but either way, I respect that a lot. And speaking of people you have to respect, Leo is Aegis. It's a terror. It's hard to deal with. You can't get in because if you whiff, you take approximately 17 billion%, but not the character that I was actually expecting from Atomic. We've seen Rob from him throughout this entire bracket. He defeated Big Boss in the Rob Ditto to even get to this point, and now he's bringing out Joker on the player most known for that character.
I mean, Rob is the character that Atomic is not. Even the Rob Ditto, even within his own region, is something that he is known for being really good at, right? But
with Grayson,
after a while, right, and Cosma as well, among the other tons of Robs that are really good in the region. But Atomic picked up the Joker a few months ago, and it's been really fun to watch it develop because he puts this interesting flair to it that he's not necessarily looking for the big hit, the big damage output all the time. He is so nooch focused, and this edge guard could mean a whole lot for him. He just needs to get a little bit more out of that Arsene.
Arsene is going away, but Atomic has managed to find himself a percent lead, and he's actually held on to this percent lead pretty much the entire duration of the game. A rarity for MkLeo to be put on the back foot by literally anybody, let alone the character that he's so familiar with. Manages to make his way back on stage past this gun edge guard, and a down tilt that usually results in a stock is actually just nothing for him. He's been unable to get a lot of these conversions that Aegis is so good at, and that's just by virtue of, one, Joker being so slippery and disadvantaged. He's so good at hurtbox shifting so that he can get out of those situations, and two, Atomic's been playing this perfectly. Leo misses the follow-up out of the footstool on the blazing end too, so that's going to be another opportunity missed to close out this stock. And as we approach that 2-minute mark, both these guys 145, 0.2% apart.
And honestly, anybody's guess is who takes the next stock, because these characters hit equally as hard when Arsene is on deck. The Joker versus the Pyra. I mean, honestly, Arsene's kind of a bit of a progenitor to the Pyra in general, but Atomic making great use of that mobility, and the Mithra is out from Leo.
Ooh.
And instead, Atomic gets that first stock. That's something that we see from Leo sometimes as well, right? That in these first couple of games, he's willing to take some more risks, take some more hits to gather that data. Atomic taking advantage, but does get chased by Leo as the game goes back to even.
Yeah, but when you get to the point where Leo is forced to use Mithra to take stocks at those super high percentages, you know things aren't going well. He's so used to and so known for using that Pyra at just random times. It comes out and you die no matter what percent you're at. So the fact that he was forced onto the more mobile and more active Mithra to even take that stock in the first place is actually not a good sign for Leo, a great sign for Atomic. Though he has lost the percent lead, Leo is starting to claw his way back in. Atomic is only a couple hits off of getting that Arsene once more.
Oh, and he's playing so safely, trying to use Joker's merits to play up against the Pyra Mithra, right? You got great frame down on shield just like Mithra does, but like you said, pull out that Pyra at a random time. Suddenly you may find yourself asking, where did my stock go? This is not my beautiful house.
Even if he hasn't asked where did that stock go, he's certainly asking where did that Arsene go. Pyra just melted the big brother there. Didn't give Atomic any opportunity to make use of one of his strongest tools. So he's going to have to make it do with vanilla Joker, or he's going to have to get a couple Rebels guards out. But that's obviously also a risk, because if you throw out the Rebels guard, Leo reads you and gets a punish on it, you're sitting duck. Speaking of sitting duck, off stage looking for the snipe, but doesn't find it. Eventually punishes the neutral get up with a reaction down smash.
Honestly, I find it interesting that Leo is relying a lot on the ledge trap playing Pyra Mithra, right, where they're actually really good, especially against Joker, at keeping him in the corner, not necessarily off stage, but not giving him the time to ramp up and get that perfect spacing with his safe aerials. But Leo's just such a good edge guarder in general because he's so good at picking up on player habits that Atomic hasn't really gotten to play the game when he's out there. That being said, at 136, one Joker aerial is going to be enough to even up the stocks.
But he has to find that aerial, and Leo very smartly staying on the Mithra whenever Atomic has the potential to hit him, because as he goes to Pyra, then all of a sudden he gets touched, but the blazing end takes care of Arsene, and Leo takes care of Joker. Game 1 going his way. Despite a little bit of a lackluster start, he got his feet underneath him, and then he just MkLeo'd him.
That's what you do. And again, he's so good at breaking down the player habits. In that moment, right, what we saw to end the game was that blazing end. The last time we saw him go for the footstool, so Atomic was probably trying to wiggle out, SDI, jump away. Leo knew exactly where that Joker was going, and that was to the corner to create some space. That's why he was immediately able to follow up with that jump up here to finish out that game.
And the retention on Leo is also incredibly impressive because you mentioned the previous blazing end that he made use of, but I want to point out the very first blazing end that took place in that game. And the way that Atomic got out of that, guess what? Double jump into the corner. Leo, he retained that fact that, hey, if I don't get the footstool, he's going to try and double jump away to create that space. So this time, I'm going to save it all the way for the end of the game, and then I'm just going to chase. Now, Atomic making his way onto the Rob, and I don't like this decision, Kimona. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This matchup, widely regarded by both Rob and Aegis mains to be absolutely dog water for Rob.
Yeah, when you've got safe aerials that are also big to challenge Rob, one of the problems that you have fighting against Rob as most characters is that it's difficult to contest his aerials, whether it's because of the frame data or the range or what have you, right? How do you get up in his face? Well, you don't really have that problem as the Aegis. MkLeo demonstrating that. The only reason Atomic lived for one more hit is because of that tall ceiling, but the Pyra came right back out and cleaned it up, and this is not at all like the start we saw in that game 1.
Yeah, it was not a 0 to death, but it may as well have been. He just uses the side B immediately, the Photon Edge coming through to punish Atomic's hubris, chases him out, but Atomic is luckily able to fall through that Lightning Buster so that he doesn't lose another stock this early on in the game. A very, very big departure from what we saw in game number 1. If you recall, it was nearly 2 full minutes before the first stock was taken. I think actually even more than that. Here, though, we almost saw 2 gone in 1.
And honestly, it's like you were talking about. Joker has all that hurt box shifting. It's hard to get those long combos on him, but the damage output from MkLeo has increased 3-fold against this Rob because those combos just last so much longer. But the mix-up on the shield, Atomic has been going for nairs on shield this whole game, mixed it up with that back air that time, caught MkLeo lacking.
Yeah, great Zombear there coming through from Atomic, but Leo is still on the offensive, doing so much damage to him and forcing him back into the corner even more. Has Gyro in hand as well, so Atomic loses that easy ticket back on stage, and then it's just a gentleman jab to punish the get-up.
Imagine having double-edged dance for a jab. Isn't that crazy that that move KOs that early, even on Town and City? Leo taking advantage of it, and now getting to play with a full stock lead, but getting pushed into the corner.
Let's not be ridiculous. That's way better than double-edged.
Oh,
no,
it's so much faster.
It's faster, it's safer. You have the rapid jab variation to do a ton of damage at low percents. It kills on the corner. That move is disgustingly good, and that's actually one of the things that I think separates Leo a lot more from the other Aegis players, is that he uses jab to that extent.
Another thing that he does that not a lot of other Aegis players do is make great use of that nair, especially on tech chases where he knows he can at least get one decent hit for it. Right now, one decent hit's all he needs. 115 on Atomic, you get one Pyra aerial, and you're sending yourself to a 2-0 lead.
But I actually really like how Atomic is playing this. Early on, he tried to box with Leo, got blown up for it, and then went, okay, this is not working. I'm going to keep my space. I'm going to stay a little bit farther away. I'm going to try and stay out of the sword's burst range. And it's serving him pretty well. It just feels like it might have been a little bit too little too late for the change. If he had done this first stock and started playing like this could be a much more even game. He is probably taking this stock here. No, a beautiful swap from Leo to complete the recovery. And down tilt up air from Mithra, actually, instead of Pyra.
And you know what? Why not? If it does the job, it does the job. I honestly love that MkLeo has found a way to make that recovery work. A lot of people questioned the Pyra Mithra at first. Their first criticism of Leo picking up the character was, oh, but his recovery mix-ups are so good, and now he's playing a character with a subpar recovery. Granted, that hasn't changed, but he's still creative enough to get around a Rob that is trying to edgeguard him, and he will no longer be trying to get around the Rob. Atomic switching back to the Joker.
Let's be honest here for a second. When we call Pyra Mithra recovery subpar, we're talking in comparison to something like Joker. It's not a bad recovery. It's just a little bit lackluster in certain situations, but if you are a good enough player, as evidenced by multiple people in this game, Leo, Cosmos, Spargo, so many more, you can get around those shortcomings without too much difficulty.
I think that the crux of it is that the recovery doesn't do any of the work for you, right?
Yeah, you just have to be smart.
You have to be aware, but if you're smart, then yeah, the recovery is perfectly fine. Regardless, MkLeo is showing off what some smarts can do with that recovery. Part of the reason he's got a 2-0 lead.
We're not saying that recovery is perfectly good or perfectly great. We said perfectly fine. It's serviceable. It's usable. It's not a huge detriment to your gameplay, and Leo is a pretty great demonstration of that, but he might lose out on the stock here as the Tetrakarn low punishes that Mythra up B.
Man, I think one of the things I love about Atomic's Joker, and it fits so much better than the Rob in some cases, is that he loves to be aggressive. He's the one that's choosing to advance the game state, not necessarily by running in your face and throwing out buttons, but he is doing something to force his opponent to give him, whether it's an opening, whether they throw out a move of their own, they have to react to him, and Atomic feasts off of that.
Atomic feasting off of Leo right now. 60% of extra credit built up. Leo struggling to find this kill. Once again, being forced to use the Mythra a whole lot more heavily, but finally the Pyra makes her appearance, and makes her appearance known with a bang as she finds that stock. Still very, very, very comebackable from Leo at the moment. We've seen what the damage output can do, but the way Atomic is playing, he's not going to get the opportunity. That was almost terrifying.
He almost gave an opportunity of a full stock from 0, but knew the risks. He was able to make it back about 20%. That Arsene's going to be coming soon, and why not now? Pulling out that Rebels guard, getting juggled to the tune of quite a bit of percent, and honestly, the fact that he took a bit of it there is not that bad for him because it's going to be harder to knock that Arsene out of him now that the combos are less available.
He's got to be so proactive here, though, because if Leo gets one hit in, he's going to take away the Arsene with a long, long combo string. Like right here, potentially. No, great option from Atomic with the spot dodge to avoid the up tilt.
Man, I am just astonished by how good for both of these players their spacing has been. Whether it's on a recovery, whether it's on their approaches, defense, regardless, you can tell how much they've studied these characters and understand their threat zones. And right now you understand that the threat from the Joker a bit mitigated without that Arsene. Atomic is probably going to have to look for an edge guard to find it, but an amazing use of that blazing end to make it back on stage from Leo.
Yeah, Leo covering himself quite well with the side B, making sure that Atomic can't get aggressive like you were talking about. He's been so good at it all game, and Leo's like, all right, I know what you can do off stage, and I don't want to deal with it, but he's going to have to deal with it on stage as Atomic finds that F tilt to take away the stock. Leo, for the first time this set, and maybe, for the first time this set, finds himself on last stock.
That being said, Atomic has also got the Arsene, won't be able to use it as that 1-2-3, the jab from Pyra is enough to send Atomic onto his last stock, a place that he's been a couple of times.
No.
Is that no double jump? No, Atomic was able to save it.
I thought he was stuck off stage without a jump, and that is quite possibly the worst spot you can be in Smash Bros. Ultimate, but he was smarter than I was. He conserved that jump and made sure that he still had a route back to stage against Leo. He's going to eat 70.8% though in the process of getting back to the stage. Certainly not something that he likely wanted, but it is at least going to give him the use of Arsene for a little bit.
That being said, he hasn't been able to make use of it because Leo has just been running circles around him. Look at the way he camped out that entire Arsene. He didn't even have to hit much of it out of Atomic, and now building up some damage. One more solid hit is going to end in a 3-0 for the worldwide #1, and the upset will not happen today. T1's MkLeo comes out on top with the 3-0. Atomic putting up a very good fight in a couple of those games, but at the end of the day, what do you do when you're going up against the best?